When winter arrives in Europe, the world doesn't just turn cold, it turns magical. Snow settles on medieval rooftops, lanterns glow along cobblestone streets, and entire towns begin to feel like pages from a storybook. Across the continent, winter creates places where time seems to slow down. Castles rise through misty skies, alpine villages glow beneath falling snow, and frozen lakes reflect lights that shimmer like stars on the ground. This is the season when Europe feels most unreal. When Christmas markets warm the cold air, mountain valleys fall silent under white blankets, and centuries-old streets transform into pure winter fairy tales. From snow-covered Nordic villages beneath dancing northern lights, to romantic alpine towns tucked between towering peaks, these are places where winter doesn't just decorate the landscape, it tells a story. So join us as we journey through the 25 fairy tale winter wonderlands in Europe, where snow, history, and glowing lights come together to create a magical winter dream that feels almost too beautiful to be real. Tromso, Norway. In the heart of the Arctic Circle, where daylight fades into a soft blue glow, Tromso feels like a winter fairy tale written by the Northern Lights themselves. Snow blankets, colorful wooden houses, street lamps glow warmly against icy nights, and the silence of the Arctic creates an atmosphere that feels almost magical. Winter transforms Tromso into one of Europe's most enchanting destinations. The sky often erupts in waves of green and purple aurora, dancing above frozen fjords and snow-covered mountains. Reindeer trails weave through white landscapes, while dog sleds glide quietly across the tundra, straight out of a storybook scene. The city's cozy cafes, glowing windows, and snow-dusted streets offer a perfect contrast to the wild Arctic surroundings. Historic churches and harbors shimmer under winter lights, while boat tours drift through icy waters reflecting the stars above. Despite the extreme latitude, Tromso feels warm and welcoming, a place where nature takes center stage and winter beauty feels pure and untouched. In winter, Tromso isn't just a destination. It's a dreamlike Arctic wonderland where reality feels wonderfully unreal. Latvia. In winter, Riga transforms into a Baltic fairy tale, shaped by frost, soft light, and quiet elegance. Snow settles gently over its medieval Old Town and Art Nouveau streets, turning the city into a serene winter masterpiece. Church spires rise above frozen rooftops, while narrow lanes glow under festive lights and lanterns. The historic squares feel especially magical, filled with seasonal decorations and a calm, almost poetic atmosphere. Along the Daugava River, icy reflections mirror the city's glowing skyline beneath pale winter skies. Winter brings a peaceful rhythm to Riga. Cafes offer warmth and comfort, windows glow against the cold, and footsteps echo softly on snow-covered streets. The city feels slower, more intimate, a place to wander without urgency and take in every detail. Riga's winter charm lies in its subtle beauty. It doesn't overwhelm, it enchants quietly. Wrapped in snow and history, Riga feels like a forgotten fairy tale waiting to be rediscovered, making it one of Europe's most underrated winter wonderlands. Riga, Latvia. In winter, Riga transforms into a Baltic fairy tale, shaped by frost, soft light, and quiet elegance. Snow settles gently over its medieval Old Town and Art Nouveau streets, turning the city into a serene winter masterpiece. Church spires rise above frozen rooftops, while narrow lanes glow under festive lights and lanterns. The historic squares feel especially magical, filled with seasonal decorations and a calm, almost poetic atmosphere. Along the Daugava River, icy reflections mirror the city's glowing skyline beneath pale winter skies. Winter brings a peaceful rhythm to Riga. Cafes offer warmth and comfort, windows glow against the cold, and footsteps echo softly on snow-covered streets. The city feels slower, more intimate, a place to wander without urgency and take in every detail. Riga's winter charm lies in its subtle beauty. It doesn't overwhelm, it enchants quietly. Wrapped in snow and history, Riga feels like a forgotten fairy tale waiting to be rediscovered, making it one of Europe's most underrated winter wonderlands. Tallinn, Estonia. Behind medieval stone walls, Tallinn becomes one of Europe's most authentic winter fairy tales. Snow rests on red-tiled roofs, watchtowers rise through frosty air, and lantern-lit streets glow warmly against the cold. The old town feels untouched by time and winter. Narrow cobblestone lanes wind past ancient buildings, while soft snowfall muffles sound, creating a peaceful, dreamlike atmosphere. Festive lights and seasonal markets add warmth, making the city feel both historic and alive. As daylight fades, Tallinn becomes even more magical. Golden windows glow within stone houses, and quiet streets invite slow evening walks beneath falling snow. The medieval walls and towers frame the city like a living illustration from a winter storybook. Tallinn's winter beauty is deeply immersive. It's not just about scenery, but about feeling transported to a place where history, silence, and snow work together to create pure enchantment. In winter, Tallinn doesn't feel visited, it feels discovered. Brasov, Romania. Nestled in the Carpathian Mountains, Brasov becomes a hidden winter fairy tale when snow transforms its medieval heart. Gothic towers, colorful houses, and old stone walls glow softly beneath white skies, surrounded by forested peaks. Winter gives the old town a quiet, mysterious charm. Snow settles on rooftops, mist drifts through mountain air, and the town feels wrapped in legend. Nearby forests and castles add depth to the scenery, making the region feel like a place where myths were born. As night falls, warm lights illuminate narrow streets, creating a cozy contrast to the cold. Viewpoints above the town reveal postcard-perfect scenes of snow-covered roofs framed by dark pine forests. Brasov's winter magic is powerful yet gentle. It blends history, nature, and silence into a setting that feels untouched by modern time. In winter, Brasov becomes more than beautiful. It becomes a living fairy tale hidden in the mountains of Europe. Krakow, Poland. When winter settles over Krakow, the city takes on a storybook elegance that feels both romantic and timeless. Snow drapes medieval rooftops, church spires rise through misty skies, and golden streetlights reflect softly on cobblestone streets. The old town becomes especially enchanting during winter. Rynek Główny, Europe's largest medieval square, glows with festive lights, wooden stalls, and warm seasonal aromas. Horse-drawn carriages move slowly through falling snow, adding a classic fairy tale touch to the historic surroundings. Wawel Castle looks almost mythical beneath a white blanket, overlooking the quiet river below. Narrow alleyways feel calmer in winter, inviting slow walks past softly lit cafes and historic facades. Inside, warm interiors contrast beautifully with the cold outside, creating moments of comfort and calm. Krakow's winter beauty isn't loud or dramatic. It's graceful, atmospheric, and deeply emotional. The city feels like a living fairy tale, where history whispers through the snow, and every corner invites you to pause, reflect, and fall in love with winter all over again. Prague, Czech Republic. When winter settles over Prague, the city transforms into a living fairy tale of spires, snow, and golden light. Gothic towers pierce the misty sky, bridges glow beneath street lamps, and centuries-old buildings look even more magical, wrapped in white. Snow dusts the rooftops of the old town, softening the city into something dreamlike and timeless. Walking through Prague in winter feels like stepping into a storybook. The Charles Bridge becomes quiet and atmospheric, framed by falling snow and distant church bells. Old Town Square glows with festive warmth, where lights reflect off cobblestones and historic facades shimmer under the winter sky. As night falls, Prague's charm deepens. Lanterns illuminate narrow alleys, cafes glow with warmth, and the city slows to a peaceful rhythm. Winter brings a calm elegance that allows the city's beauty and history to truly shine. Prague's winter magic lies in its atmosphere, romantic, mysterious, and deeply enchanting. It's not just a destination, but a fairy tale city where history and winter come together in perfect harmony. Bled, Slovenia. In winter, Bled looks like a scene taken straight from a fairy tale illustration. Snow blankets the surrounding Alps, the lake turns mirror still or softly frozen, and Bled Castle rises above it all like a guardian from another time. The island church, resting quietly at the lake's center, feels almost unreal beneath winter skies. As snow falls, the town grows silent and magical. Wooden boats rest along icy shores, forests glisten with frost, and the mountains reflect softly on the lake's surface. Winter transforms Bled into a peaceful wonderland where nature feels pure and untouched. Evenings bring a gentle glow as lights reflect across the lake, creating a dreamlike atmosphere. Walking along the shoreline feels intimate and calm, as if the world has slowed just for this moment. Bled's winter beauty is subtle yet powerful. It's not loud or crowded, it's serene, romantic, and deeply enchanting. In winter, Bled becomes more than a destination. It becomes a living fairy tale nestled in the heart of the Alps. Salzburg, Austria. Winter gives Salzburg a timeless fairy tale elegance. Snow settles on Baroque rooftops, fortress walls glow above the city, and church domes rise through misty skies. The historic streets feel quieter, more intimate, and deeply atmospheric. The old town becomes especially magical in winter. Narrow lanes glow beneath lantern light, and the Hohensalzburg fortress looks almost mythical perched above the snow-covered city. The surrounding Alps frame Salzburg like a painted backdrop, enhancing its storybook charm. As evening arrives, the city fills with warmth. Cafe windows glow, soft music drifts through the air, and winter lights reflect on stone streets. Snowfall transforms familiar landmarks into scenes of calm beauty and nostalgia. Salzburg's winter magic feels refined and emotional. It's a city where history, music, and alpine scenery merge into a fairy tale setting. In winter, Salzburg doesn't just look beautiful, it feels like a classic European winter dream brought to life. Berchtesgaden, Germany. Surrounded by snow-covered peaks and alpine forests, Berchtesgaden becomes a hidden winter fairy tale in Bavaria. The village rests peacefully beneath towering mountains, where frost-covered trees and frozen valleys create a scene of pure winter magic. Snow transforms the region into a quiet alpine dream. Wooden houses glow warmly against white landscapes, and mountain roads curve gently through forests dusted with frost. The nearby alpine lakes and valleys feel frozen in time, reflecting the stillness of winter. As evening arrives, Berchtesgaden grows even more enchanting. Lights shimmer softly through falling snow, church bells echo through cold air, and the surrounding peaks stand silent and protective. The atmosphere feels intimate, calm, and deeply comforting. Berchtesgaden's winter charm lies in its serenity. It's not flashy or crowded, it's peaceful, authentic, and beautifully untouched. In winter, this alpine village feels like a secret fairy tale world, where nature and tradition come together in perfect harmony. Grindelwald, Switzerland. Winter turns Grindelwald into a classic alpine fairy tale, surrounded by towering, snow-covered peaks. Wooden chalets glow warmly beneath white rooftops, and the dramatic Eiger Mountain rises above the village like a frozen guardian. The valley feels peaceful, powerful and breathtakingly beautiful. Snow blankets every surface, transforming fields and forests into a pristine winter wonderland. Icicles sparkle in the sunlight, and mountain air feels crisp and pure. Cable cars glide silently overhead, carrying visitors into high alpine landscapes where winter seems endless and untouched. As daylight fades, Grindelwald becomes magical. Soft lights illuminate village streets, while the mountains reflect subtle pink and blue tones of the winter sky. The quietness of the evening enhances the fairy tale atmosphere, making every moment feel special. Grindelwald's winter charm lies in its scale and serenity. It feels small beneath the vast Alps, yet incredibly alive. In winter, Grindelwald becomes a snow globe village, dramatic, peaceful, and deeply enchanting. Saalbach, Austria. Wrapped in snow and alpine charm, Saalbach becomes a cozy winter fairy tale village in the heart of the Austrian Alps. Wooden chalets line softly lit streets, pine forests wear heavy coats of snow, and the surrounding mountains create a protective storybook setting. Winter brings Saalbach to life in a gentle, magical way. Snow-covered slopes rise above the village, while quiet trails wind through white forests. The village itself feels warm and welcoming, with glowing windows, flickering lights, and a peaceful alpine rhythm. As evening arrives, Saalbach glows beneath winter skies. Lanterns reflect off snow-covered paths, and the village feels calm yet vibrant. Warm interiors contrast beautifully with the cold outside, creating a sense of comfort and nostalgia. Saalbach's winter magic is its warmth. It doesn't overwhelm with grandeur, it charms with coziness, tradition, and alpine beauty. In winter, Saalbach feels like a hidden fairy tale village where snow, mountains, and warmth blend perfectly. Budapest, Hungary. In winter, Budapest transforms into a grand fairy tale city, glowing with elegance and warmth. Snow dusts historic rooftops, grand bridges shimmer under golden lights, and steam rises gently from outdoor thermal baths, creating a scene that feels almost magical. The Danube flows quietly through the city, reflecting illuminated landmarks like a ribbon of light. Buda Castle looks especially enchanting beneath winter skies, its walls glowing softly as mist rolls across the hills. On the Pest side, grand avenues and historic cafes invite slow winter walks, where warmth and nostalgia fill the air. Christmas markets and seasonal lights add charm, turning public squares into cozy gathering places. As night falls, Budapest becomes even more atmospheric. Street lamps glow against the snow, river cruises drift past illuminated buildings, and the city feels calm yet alive. The contrast between cold air and warm interiors creates a uniquely romantic winter experience. Budapest's winter beauty lies in its balance of grandeur and intimacy. It feels refined, timeless, and welcoming, a true fairy tale city where history, light, and winter elegance come together beautifully. Tignes, France. High in the French Alps, Tignes transforms into a dramatic winter fairy tale shaped by snow, altitude, and endless white landscapes. The village sits beneath towering peaks, surrounded by frozen lakes and vast alpine terrain that feels almost otherworldly. Winter here is powerful and immersive. Snow stretches in every direction, creating a clean, untouched world where the mountains dominate the horizon. The frozen lake near the village glistens under pale winter light, adding to the surreal atmosphere. As darkness falls, lights reflect softly on the snow, and the village feels isolated yet alive. The cold air is sharp and invigorating, while warm interiors offer comfort against the vast alpine wilderness outside. Tignes' winter beauty lies in its intensity. It feels bold, dramatic, and pure, a place where winter takes full control. In snow, Tignes becomes a fairy tale of scale and silence, where nature feels infinite and unforgettable. Garmisch-Partenkirchen, Germany. Nestled beneath Germany's highest peaks, Garmisch-Partenkirchen becomes a Bavarian winter fairy tale when snow arrives. Painted houses, alpine churches, and mountain views come together in a scene filled with charm and tradition. Snow settles gently on rooftops, while nearby peaks rise sharply into the sky. The town feels calm and inviting, with frosted streets and warm lights glowing against the cold. Winter hiking paths and quiet alpine valleys add to the storybook atmosphere. As evening approaches, the town becomes especially magical. Lanterns glow, snow reflects golden light, and the surrounding mountains stand dark and majestic under winter skies. The balance between village life and wild alpine scenery feels perfectly harmonious. Garmisch-Partenkirchen's winter charm is timeless. It blends Bavarian culture, mountain beauty, and seasonal calm into a fairy tale setting that feels comforting, authentic, and deeply enchanting. Vienna, Austria. Winter dresses Vienna in elegance and old-world fairy tale charm. Snow settles on imperial rooftops, grand palaces glow beneath winter skies, and historic streets feel softer and more romantic in the cold air. The city's classical beauty shines in winter. Baroque buildings, wide boulevards, and quiet squares create a refined atmosphere, while festive lights add warmth and magic. Palaces and historic cafes feel especially inviting, offering moments of comfort and nostalgia. As night falls, Vienna becomes quietly enchanting. Streetlights illuminate falling snow, music drifts from warm interiors, and the city moves at a slower, more graceful pace. Winter allows Vienna's beauty to breathe, revealing its timeless soul. Vienna's winter magic lies in its refinement. It's not dramatic, it's graceful, emotional, and deeply atmospheric. In winter, Vienna feels like a living fairy tale of culture, history, and quiet elegance. Dolomites, Italy. In winter, the Dolomites transform into one of Europe's most dramatic fairy tale landscapes. Towering limestone peaks rise sharply from snow-covered valleys, glowing pink and gold at sunrise and sunset. The mountains feel powerful, silent, and otherworldly beneath winter skies. Snow blankets, alpine meadows, forests sparkle with frost, and small mountain villages rest quietly beneath the peaks. Frozen trails wind through white landscapes, while distant church towers and wooden chalets add a storybook touch to the vast scenery. As daylight fades, the Dolomites become even more magical. The mountains cast long shadows across the snow, and soft alpine lights glow far below, creating a surreal contrast between warmth and wilderness. The silence feels deep and pure, broken only by wind moving through high passes. The Dolomites' winter beauty is breathtaking and cinematic. It feels like a fairy tale written on a grand scale, wild, elegant, and unforgettable. In winter, these mountains don't just impress, they completely overwhelm the senses. Rovaniemi, Finland. In winter, Rovaniemi feels like a fairy tale written in snow and northern light. Deep inside the Arctic Circle, forests glow under frost, rivers freeze into silver pathways, and the sky often dances with waves of green and purple aurora. Snow blankets the land for months, transforming the region into a true winter wonderland. Pine trees stand heavy with snow, reindeer trails cross frozen landscapes, and soft Arctic light creates an atmosphere that feels magical and unreal. Even daylight feels different here, pale, gentle, and dreamlike. As night falls, Rovaniemi becomes otherworldly. Northern lights ripple across the sky, reflecting on snow-covered ground, while warm lights glow from cabins and villages below. Silence surrounds everything, making each moment feel peaceful and profound. Rovaniemi's winter magic is pure and immersive. It's not just a place you visit, it's a world you step into. In winter, Rovaniemi becomes the definition of a fairy tale Arctic wonderland, where nature feels alive and imagination feels real. Aachen, Germany. Winter wraps Aachen in a quiet, old-world fairy tale charm. Snow settles gently on historic rooftops, Cathedral towers rise through misty skies, and warm golden lights glow against stone streets shaped by centuries of history. The city feels calm, intimate, and deeply atmospheric during the colder months. Aachen Cathedral becomes especially magical in winter. Its ancient walls shimmer softly under winter light, and nearby squares feel timeless as snow muffles sound and movement. Narrow streets invite slow walks, while historic cafes and bakeries glow warmly, offering comfort against the cold. As evening falls, Aachen transforms into a peaceful winter scene. Street lamps reflect on frosted stones, church bells echo softly, and the city feels wrapped in quiet elegance. Winter allows Aachen's heritage to take center stage, revealing a slower, more emotional side of the city. Aachen's winter magic lies in its understated beauty. It doesn't overwhelm with grandeur, it enchants through history, warmth, and atmosphere. In winter, Aachen feels like a forgotten fairy tale city, where time pauses and every step feels meaningful. Rain, Norway. In winter, rainy feels like a fairy tale painted in ice and silence. Nestled among the dramatic peaks of Norway's Lofoten Islands, this tiny fishing village glows softly beneath Arctic skies. Snow blankets, red wooden cabins, frozen fjords mirror jagged mountains, and the entire landscape feels untouched by time. Winter darkness brings its own magic. The northern lights often ripple across the sky, casting green and purple reflections onto icy waters below. During the day, pale Arctic light creates a dreamlike atmosphere where mountains rise straight from the sea, wrapped in snow and mist. There is a deep calm in Rene during winter. No crowds, no noise, only the gentle movement of water, the crunch of snow underfoot, and the distant call of seabirds. Warm lights glowing from cabin windows create a striking contrast against the frozen surroundings. Reine's winter beauty is raw and surreal. It feels less like a village and more like a mythical place at the edge of the world, where nature dominates completely, and winter transforms reality into something truly unreal. Zermatt, Switzerland. When winter arrives, Zermatt becomes a high-altitude fairy tale beneath the legendary Matterhorn. Snow covers wooden chalets, streets glow with alpine warmth, and the surrounding peaks rise like icy cathedrals against the sky. This car-free village feels peaceful and timeless in winter. Horse-drawn sleighs glide through snow-covered streets, while mountain trains move quietly through white landscapes. The Matterhorn dominates every view, its sharp silhouette glowing pink and gold at sunrise and sunset. As night falls, Zermatt transforms into a cozy alpine dream. Warm lights reflect on snow-covered paths, fireplaces crackle inside wooden lodges, and the cold air feels crisp rather than harsh. The contrast between rugged mountains and refined village charm creates a perfect winter balance. Zermatt's winter magic lies in its elegance. It's not just scenic, it feels curated by nature itself. In winter, Zermatt becomes a living postcard where alpine beauty, silence, and timeless charm come together in one unforgettable fairy tale setting. Neuschwanstein Castle, Germany. In winter, Neuschwanstein Castle looks like it was lifted straight from a fairy tale book because it inspired many of them. Perched high above snow-covered forests in Bavaria, the castle rises through mist and frost like a dream made of stone. snow blankets the surrounding mountains and trees, creating a dramatic contrast against the castle's pale towers and spires. Winter silence enhances the magic, making the entire landscape feel frozen in time. As clouds drift through the valley, Neuschwanstein appears and disappears like a vision. Walking through the area in winter feels surreal. Frozen paths lead to viewpoints overlooking deep valleys, while distant church bells echo through the cold air. The castle's romantic design feels even more dramatic against winter skies. Neuschwanstein's winter beauty is legendary. It's not just a landmark, it's the definition of a fairy tale. In snow, the castle feels otherworldly, mysterious, and impossibly beautiful, proving why it remains one of Europe's most magical winter sights. Lauterbrunnen, Switzerland. Winter turns Lauterbrunnen into a valley straight out of a fairy tale dream. Surrounded by towering cliffs and snow-covered peaks, this quiet Swiss village feels hidden from the modern world. Frozen waterfalls hang like crystal curtains, and wooden chalets rest peacefully beneath fresh snow. The valley becomes incredibly still in winter. Waterfalls partially freeze, icicles glisten in soft light, and mist drifts gently through the cliffs. Snow blankets, fields, and rooftops, creating a serene, untouched landscape that feels almost sacred. As daylight fades, warm lights glow from village windows, reflecting softly on the snow. The silence is profound, broken only by distant church bells or the soft crunch of footsteps. Everything moves slower here, inviting calm and reflection. Lauterbrunnen's winter magic lies in its purity. There's no spectacle, no noise, only nature, in its most graceful form. In winter, this valley feels like a hidden fairy tale world, peaceful, emotional, and unforgettable. Hallstatt, Austria. In winter, Hallstatt becomes the ultimate European fairy tale. Snow settles gently on alpine rooftops, the lake turns glassy and still, and pastel houses glow beneath soft mountain light. Every view feels perfectly composed, like a painting brought to life. The surrounding Alps rise steeply behind the village, creating a dramatic yet intimate setting. Winter silence fills the air as snowflakes drift across narrow streets, and the lakeside reflects warm lights from cozy homes. The church spire and lakeside walk feel especially magical beneath falling snow. As evening arrives, Hallstatt glows. Lanterns shimmer, reflections dance on the water, and the entire village feels suspended in time. There's no rush, no noise, only calm, beauty, and quiet wonder. Hallstatt's winter charm is unmatched. It feels unreal, delicate, and deeply emotional. In winter, Hallstatt isn't just beautiful, it becomes the very definition of a fairy tale winter wonderland in Europe.
Find us on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, and Threads. Don't forget to subscribe to The Scenic Hunter for another exciting adventurous journey. Until then, it's goodbye from us.